Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Telltale's The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, or Season 3. Now before I really get into it, I'm going to say that I did not complete this game. And this bullshit right here is why I did not complete this game. Because I bought the disc version of the game because, well, that generally signifies that the game has been completed and, all the episodes have been released, it's ready to play. No. Not in this case, and that's bullshit. It annoys the shit out of me. I was able to play episodes 1 through 3, not 4 and 5, because they're not out yet, and that's bullshit. If they're gonna release the disc, seriously, the entire game should be completed and out. Okay, so on to the actual game. You play as Javier, aka Javi, who is a member of a pretty large family, and that's how it starts. It starts in a flashback, not present day, and then you move to the present day where it's zombie apocalypse time. You find out how it all began for him, family, all that stuff. He is now, though, in the present day with his sister-in-law and her 2 kids. In the present day, it starts with Javi and his group essentially on the road, and they need to stop for gas, so they're going to root around in a junkyard for a little while and see if there's anything they can use. Well, it seems empty at first, and it turns out it's not empty, and they kind of get in trouble with some bad seeming dudes. Javi gets knocked out, he gets thrown in a truck, and they start heading down the road, and that's when a tree falls, blocks the truck goes off the road, and you find out that it was Clem who was doing that, because she was trying to get her hands on the vehicle. Javi and Clem become a team, and they work well together. It's pretty interesting to see how they interact, and there are a lot of decisions you can make in the past that can affect stuff in the future, because they do a lot of flashbacks in this game. I thought that was an interesting bit of storytelling, because I don't really recall flashbacks from the first couple of games. So there were a few places that I felt like the writing was kind of crap, and I guess it has to go along with the dialogue, because in those places, you're given one of 2 options, and you get to choose the tonality, but I don't even agree with the tonality sometimes. It just goes way further than I would go with some of those comments, and maybe that's just me, but I just feel like some of them were unnecessary, and you're like, you're making shit a little harder than it needs to be. As for the voiceover work and the audio, I think it's very good. It's actually excellent as usual because Telltale games, well, these ones specifically, are very, very story-driven, and therefore there's a lot of dialogue, and they're very dialogue-driven events. Choose your own narrative kind of thing, as usual, so it's very important to have great voiceover work. The sound effects are pretty good. They're not the best I've heard, but they're good enough. As for the gameplay, this is like any other Telltale game. It's a lot of dialogue options, which are generally put on a timer, so you've got to choose, not necessarily incredibly quickly, but pretty quickly. It's also chock full of a lot of QuickTime events, and I've got to say in this one, some of them are shit. I say that because you basically have to die and repeat the event so that you can memorize the order of the events, because they go like that. It goes from doing what you're doing to instantly something else, and if you don't do it instantly, you're dead. So I found that pretty irritating. I had to repeat an event about 3 times to actually get the order properly, because there were 2 times where it's like, you're doing this, and then it's just instantly something else. And if you don't get it instantly, you will die, and it was just kind of frustrating. And like previous entries in the series, there are the walk around, kind of explore. I mean, it's not a massive exploration area, but you can explore some areas. And exploring those areas can be sort of important because you can find items that, well, you may need later. You may not know you need them, but you may end up needing them later. Not necessarily like life or death need, but they come in handy. As for the controls, they work fine for the game. I mean, they don't need to be the craziest controls out there because, it's not as gameplay intensive as some other games. I will say, and it's not exactly a controls thing, it's maybe more of a UI kind of thing, but during some of the QuickTime events, they use a nice swooping arrow to designate up, down, left, right, but other times they just put that little arrow in a circle, and you're sitting there as wait, is this the D-pad? Is it this? Is it, but it is just the same joystick motion. I just didn't like it because it wasn't as intuitive, because it wasn't what they had been using. Lastly, the graphics. This game is done in the same cel-shaded art design that pretty much all Telltale games are done in, which I'm always a fan of. I really enjoy it. I like it because it has kind of a comic book feel, and I enjoy that, especially for these games. But just like all other Telltale games, it seems like this one runs into some of the same issues, like frame rate. Now, admittedly, it's not the worst frame rate I've seen in a Telltale game. I have to give that award to Borderlands, but oh my god, why these games have such bad frame rates, I just will never understand. I also had this weird glitch where like some parts of my character started stretching and like all the way across the screen to off the screen, and it was really weird and distracting. I had to quit the chapter, quit the game, and restart it. Unfortunately, doing that got rid of that glitch, but man, it was weird at first, and it was, like I said, distracting. I really love Telltale games, but I really wish they'd get some of that shit sorted out, because it's not like it's a massive open world. It's not like it's super heavily, like, gameplay intensive. Admittedly, this one has a lot going on screen at the same time, but not as much as, like, other much larger games with much more graphically intense experiences. Okay, to wrap this up, I would say it's absolutely worth buying, just not yet. Let the other chapters come out first, chapters 4 and 5, because buying the disc right now sucks because you think you're getting the whole thing and you're not. And I just hate having to wait in between the experiences, because you finish a chapter in like an hour, maybe 2, and then you have to wait months for the next episode. It's obnoxious. Overall, though, I'm really enjoying the story. I am excited for the other 2 episodes, so I would recommend this. Just wait until they're out. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me what your favorite version of The Walking Dead is? The Telltale games, the comic books, or the show? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one. Really liked that at times. I felt it was